4.0, 2.0. What is the difference? Today, we're going to discuss if your college GPA really matters for veterans using the GI Bill. Whether the pressure comes from parents, peers, or yourself, there is a tremendous amount of pressure to maintain a high GPA during your college career. Oftentimes, we don't even know why we are striving for such high grades, other than we've been told to do so for our entire lives. But in reality, not everybody needs a high GPA or should even strive for one. This is why it's so important for you to spend the 4+ years in the military figuring out where it is exactly you want to go. When I was fresh out of active duty and a new college student, I was so stressed about my GPA that I actually opted to drop a class because I did not think I was going to get an A. In hindsight, this was so stupid, it's unbelievable. But at the time, the logic and the strategy made sense to myself and my peers as we were all hoping to get into medical school. At that point in time, I would have rather retaken that class than had a bad grade as part of my GPA. Don't get me wrong, there are undoubtedly routes that you could take where your undergrad GPA does matter for your future. These routes include specialized graduate programs like medical school, law school, or top-tier MBA programs, or other routes like top-tier employers like NASA, SpaceX, or even Tesla. The more competitive your route is, the more you're going to have to fight for it in all categories, and that includes your GPA. But for most veterans not striving for those highly competitive positions, the GPA is not worth stressing over. In this day and age, it has become abundantly clear that it's no longer about what you know, and it is about who you know. I was listening to a Patrick Bet-David speech the other day, and he was talking about the lessons he's going to teach his kids if they decide to go to college. He was making the argument that there is no difference between a 4.0 GPA and a 2.0 GPA. He was strictly advocating for not studying the material in your class so much as you are studying the students in your classroom. He was saying that as a student, you should find out who has the parents that are the wealthiest and that own the most companies and can offer the most jobs. He was saying that the real value of college is going to come from networking, from meeting people that are going to be able to get you jobs. Getting close to those types of people, building relationships and experience in that way where you can communicate effectively and you're building a reputation with people that want to work with you is far, far more important than getting a good GPA that will likely never even be seen in a stack of resumes. Now, don't get it twisted. I'm not telling you to not study. I'm not telling you to totally blow off college and that GPA doesn't matter so that you can go watch Netflix or go drink at the bar with your boys. I am saying that for most people in college, your time may be better spent networking or building real experience in your desired career field. If you're working a full-time job, building your own business, or networking your way into opportunities, these are all reasonable justifications to not focus on your GPA. However, with that, obviously comes a warning. There are at least two things that could go significantly wrong if you decide to let your GPA slip. The biggest risk to veterans about becoming careless about your grades is that you may start to fail classes. And as I've said in other videos, once you start failing classes, the likelihood of running out of GI Bill benefits before graduating increases dramatically. It's far easier to maintain a mediocre GPA throughout the semester than it is to climb out of a failing grade at the end of the semester. The second risk is that you may change your mind as time goes on. As with anything else, there are opportunity costs to accepting lower grades and a lower GPA. Who knows? Maybe 2 years after graduating your undergrad, once you've been in your career for a little bit, you decide you want to go on to medical school or go to Harvard for business school. If you spend your undergrad not focusing on your GPA, you may find that at this point, some of those opportunities, whether it be business school or medical school or any other highly competitive programs, those doors may be closed as a result. I'm never one to advocate for closing doors, But as I said previously, there are opportunity costs here at play. Either you focus on your GPA or you focus on working full time, building a business, or networking. There are pros and cons to both. All that to say is that your GPA doesn't really matter if you're not going to use it. Most employers are never going to ask you for your GPA. Heck, they're not even going to ask you to see your diploma, but that's a story for a different time. Either way, if you're not going to work on your GPA, you must work on something else to offset a lower GPA in a greater capacity. It really all comes down to which one of the 3 routes in life you're going to take. But that's for next week's video. So I'll see you guys next week, and I hopefully that inspired you to not stress out about your GPA too much, because it's not the end of the world. See you guys later.